Look, I'm all for crystals, cleansing, and talking to source. But sometimes the realest healing comes from calling yourself out and keeping it 100. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of Life Vetted. Thank you for being here and tuning in. Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to start the episode by giving you guys a little bit of a life update. I have been hitting the gym like nonstop lately. I don't know if any of you have noticed. If you follow me on my socials, you can see I've been like posting a lot of pictures of me at the gym, like after I take a tan, because I work out and then I take a tan. And man, let me tell you, I feel great. I've always gone to the gym like on and off for pretty much my whole life, but I've really been sticking to it this time around, and I've really been just going more frequently. Sometimes I would go like maybe twice or 3 times a week. But lately, man, anytime I have a free hour or 2 hours to go, I just go. Even if it's in the middle of the day, I'll just go. And dude, I feel great. I post the pictures to like keep myself accountable, because I look at myself in the pictures and I'm like, man, I look good. So I keep posting them and I keep putting them, because if I don't like keep myself accountable in that way, I'm like, I have to, like I have to be able to go back and take a look at them and be like, ooh, I posted on this day. I posted on this day. What happened on this day? I didn't go. Oh, hell no. And so I feel great. I love that I am more consistent. The thing is, let me tell you, I've had to change my mindset on the gym. So I'm a late bloomer. When all my friends in like middle school, even like elementary, had like boobs and a butt and like they had this like woman body, I never had that. My body and my boobs and my butt did not start to come in until after I had my daughter. I swear to God. After I had my daughter, my body completely changed, but like in the best possible way. Like my butt got bigger, my boobs got bigger, my waist got smaller. No, for all of you thinking I have not had any surgery, no BBLs on this body. Okay, no lip filler, none of that. So no. But I started to go to the gym because way back then, you go to the gym, you're like, oh, I want to look good. I want my body to look good. I want, muscles. And after a while, when maybe you miss or you don't go or you eat too much, like you start to like shame yourself and feel guilty. And I really had to like change my mindset on that. And I changed my mindset slowly as this whole journey that I've been on. Everything has been slow. And now my mindset is not, oh, I want to lose weight and I want to have muscles. My mindset, really, the only switch that I made was I go to the gym because I just feel better afterwards. Like, that's it. It's not about losing weight. It's not about gaining muscle or, making sure I do the exercises right and making sure that I eat this much protein and, all these things. Like, that was how I used to operate, and it got to be like a task. And man, I couldn't. Like, it was too much. When I wouldn't go, I would get really down on myself, and I had to stop that. And so through all this, like, I've learned, especially listening to Abraham Hicks, what she talks about is that our main like goal every single day on earth should be feeling good. And obviously the world is going to throw stuff at you. Things are going to happen, and it's going to get hard to maybe feel happy all the time, but the more practice that you do it, and the more that you change your perspective on the things that are happening, on the world, the universe, everything, the better you get at like feeling good most of the time. And that's how I feel now. I feel good most of the time, then I don't. I'm in a happy mood like most of the time, then I'm not. And so her goal, and she says it in her teaching, she said, you should wake up every morning and figure out, what can I do today that's going to make me extremely happy? Or what can I do today that's going to bring joy to my life or make me feel good? And to do that, you have to be really self-aware of your body, and you have to pay attention to your body, and you have to pay attention to the inside, of what's going on the inside. And one of those things for me that I realized that make me feel good is going to the gym. They just do. I get to I love lifting weights. That's what I do mostly. And I'll do a little bit of cardio afterwards, and so I just feel good when I go. And so I had to change my mindset. I had to be like, well, I don't go to the gym because I'm trying to lose weight. I don't want to lose weight. I'm good. I feel fine the way that I am. I'm not going to the gym because I'm trying to build muscle. I literally go to the gym because when I am done, I feel amazing. I feel good. And so now going to the gym is no longer like a task, right? Like, it's not like this thing like, oh, I gotta go because if I don't go, it doesn't feel like that to me anymore. To now, it feels like a fun activity. I'm like, I'm going because I feel good after I go. And so I take those pictures to kind of remind me of that, And I've also been dressing like cuter to the gym, which is a big change for me too, because I'm not one of those people that goes to the gym and is trying to I don't know, pick somebody up or, that's not my thing. I want to go to the gym and I don't want anyone to talk to me. I kind of just want to do my own thing. So I would dress before really if I was on a detective mission, I wear my hat really low and I would wear a big old shirt and try to no one to look at me. But like I said, the better I feel, the better I look to me. And so I started buying cute little gym outfits. And so I don't know, it's become a really fun activity. I invite you guys to try to change your mindset if you're struggling with something like that. Try to change your mindset on the intention behind why you go to the gym, and don't put so much pressure on yourself as I for sure did for a long time. Speaking of new clothes, I was at Ross. I don't usually go to Ross. I really enjoy TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and I like Marshalls too, but I don't really go to Ross too much. But I was like, man, I should probably go there because they probably have some cool cheap graphic shirts that I can use for the gym. And I went and I got my daughter a shirt, I got me a shirt, and then I saw this sweater. Can we talk about this sweater that I have on real quick? Dude, oh my God. Can you see it? Okay, it's cowboys on horses and literally Saturn, the galaxy, a moon or a crater or something in the background. Dude, this is so dope. And I got it yesterday and I told the lady at the cash register, I said, I feel like I'm stealing this. And she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, first of all, this is a Levi's man's sweater, okay? Levi's. The price tag is $65, obviously plus tax, so it's almost $70, and I paid $7.99. Okay, $7.99 for this. I was like, I feel like I'm stealing it. Are you sure that's the right price? And she's like, yeah, that's the right price. Dude, I freaking love it. And I'm wearing it because I record in my office, which is in the basement of my house. And it's always cold down here, like all summer, all winter. It's super cold. So I like to be a little cozy when I'm down here. So I thought it was a great little shirt to put on today. I am obsessed with it. I freaking love it so much. Anyway, let's get into today's topics, shall we? So I just wanted to talk about some of the hard truths about spirituality. Just like in any religion too, I mean, there's times where people will use their religion to commit like heinous crimes, or even to not take accountability for certain things. And I feel like in the spiritual community that happens as well. So I just wanted to talk about a few of those things and some of the things that I went through when I was going through this path. A lot of the things that now I look at and I'm like, man, like I can't participate in those things because they don't make me feel good, right? It goes back to that Abraham Hicks teachings. And I listen to her almost every day. I will listen to one of her YouTube videos or one of her teachings. She's actually coming to Colorado. I'm hoping to be able to go see her. You guys really need to check her out. And once you understand what it is that she's talking about, it's super life-changing. And so with this whole journey that I've been on, there's a lot of things that have fallen off from my life, you know, people that I don't really talk to anymore, things that I just won't participate in because they don't make me feel good that I probably used to. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know me from back in the day and they're like, man, this girl's like a hypocrite. Like, she loved marijuana. Like, oh my God. I remember saying, like, to my friends, I remember being like, I'm gonna be an old granny, you know, on a rocking chair on the porch, like rolling up a J and smoking it. And now I can't even like fathom like ever touching that again or ever even doing that again. And it's not to say even like, let's say like alcohol, right? Like, and it's not to say that I might not have like a glass of champagne at like my daughter's wedding or something, or like, you know, celebrating something huge. Like I might not have like a glass of champagne, but there's just certain things that I just don't see myself doing anymore and don't see myself participating anymore. And when you truly understand the purpose of this whole spiritual journey thing, you begin to understand that you don't really need a lot of those things. And so sometimes you have to call yourself out and be 100% with yourself. And that was hard for me sometimes. It was hard for me to walk away from certain things. There's a lot of, I would say, performative spirituality, like people that you see that are like doing yoga and like, you know, praying or whatever the case, and then they're, you know, smoking weed and, you know, things like that. Like, the truest form of spirituality comes from being so self-aware of yourself, even in the negative ways, like your anxiety or like your dark thoughts, or like when you have thoughts that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking that. And just getting so comfortable in those feelings, in the anxiety feelings, in maybe the sad feelings, in the rage, or in whatever, in any uncomfortable feeling, you get so comfortable there, and you can observe yourself in those moments that you come to understand that you don't need anything else but yourself to get through to the next moment, or to know that emotions are like these waves, and so you're just waiting patiently for it to just kind of go away. And so that is the God's to honest truth about being spiritual. And so once you've achieved that and you are so deeply comfortable in your own skin, in yourself, that you don't need to pretend. You don't need to pretend like marijuana is like this thing, or meditate all the time. And, there's just certain things that aren't very honest. And so I had to kind of understand that going through all the things that I went through, especially coming from someone who had the life that they had and lived the way that I lived. It was really hard to decipher, like, what should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? I mean, I went through a hard time because I thought that you had to be a certain way and do certain things. And it was really hard to come through this kind of self-analyzation, right? The universe, in the actual word universe, it's literally you inverse. So it's you inside, you inverse, go in. And so I truly believe that some of these people that are out there preaching certain things and saying you have to be happy 24/7, you have to look at the bright side all the time, like, that is like toxic positivity, okay? That is not real. It is not realistic. I touched on that a little bit, and that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these influencers that you see online, maybe, or people that you might see on TikTok or Reels. Like, even Optimistic Banks, like, I love him. I think he's great. He says a lot of things that are really easy to understand for people who might not be in the spiritual community, or might be trying to figure out like where they're doing or what they're doing. And he smokes weed. I've seen him, like, roll a joint and all that. And so I think that a lot of true understanding of what this like journey really is coming to a point where you understand that those things, you don't need them. I've seen a lot of people where this is the kind of promoting, if you will. And you just gotta be honest with yourself. Anything that you do to fog your reality, you're not facing. And being a spiritual person and really understanding the light of it all is facing everything at every moment. Even myself, I mean, there were times during this journey that I found myself going back to a person that I knew was not good for me. And the universe kept teaching me that lesson, or going back to a job, or whatever the case. And the universe kept teaching me this lesson, like, no, you don't belong here. No, you don't belong here. And I was like, oh, but I want peace. I want a healthy relationship. I want, the job of my dreams. But I would keep trying to help this man, or trying to make this job work. It's hard. It's really hard to call yourself out, but that's all part of it. You know what I mean? It's all part of the process. And you gotta call yourself out on your bullshit. And you gotta call, I'm not here. I always say this, and I'm gonna say it again. I am not here to change your mind about anything. I'm not here to change your mind about spirituality or how to do it or what to do or what not to do. I'm here to speak my opinion and what I've gone through, and hopefully the universe, because I know that this is what the universe is trying to do for everyone. It's just some of us are not listening. And I hope that the universe will show you clues on those things. And maybe one day you're like, oh my God, I remember that podcast with that stupid girl on there saying this and that, and this just happened to me. So I'm not here to preach or tell you this is what you need to do or this is what you don't need to do. I'm here to observe and talk about my experiences. And like I always say, hopefully the lessons will find you, and hopefully I will inspire you to change your perspective. And so I call myself out, and my friends, the people that are closest to me, that aren't very many, I make sure to call them out too, because we have that relationship and I love them. And when people really love you, when people actually care about you, they're not yes people. The people that really care about you are going to call you out on your shit. I don't want yes people around me. I don't want people around me that are just gonna agree with everything I say or do. I want to be called out on my shit. I call myself out on my shit all the time. Did I make 120 million mistakes while I was going through all this spiritual fucking shit? Yes, dude, all the time. For the last 4 years, I've been making mistakes. It has only been clear to me and gotten more clearer and more clear literally after all the bullshit I call myself out on. That's how I've gotten so much clarity. And obviously also cutting out all the things that weren't giving me any clarity, okay? And you can't have clarity if you're out there drinking every weekend, if you're smoking weed. Like, you can't. It's impossible. And I've called my friends out on that. You can't be going to the gym and meditating and doing yoga and then smoking a joint at night. Like, there's levels to this. There's levels to the upgrade. There's levels to the vibrational frequency, okay? And you can't achieve that when you do certain things that I've talked about. And so there's a lot of ugly things. And I say ugly or bad, I don't mean them literally, but there are things that you shouldn't be doing if you're really serious about becoming a better person. But those lessons will come up for you on your journey. These are just my observations of the things that have already happened to me that I know did not help me on my way. And it's not easy to call yourself out on those things. Hopefully you have people around you, maybe some mentor or someone who can guide you. And I hope that some of the stuff I say to you guys will have that kind of effect on you. So I'm going to be talking a lot about Abraham Hicks today, because I think that her teachings about making sure that you find joy and happiness every single day is super important. And it's not about fake happy. It's about feeling it in your body. The feelings that you get when you're joyful, when you are excited, when you feel exhilarating, like you feel these things in your body, and you have to learn how to listen to your body. And I know I said that before, but it's very important that you learn to listen to your body, because your body will tell you if there's somewhere that you are that you shouldn't be, if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, if you get real good at silencing the voices in your head and just really paying attention to the energy that's flowing from your insides, mostly from your heart, you will be able to decipher the things that, like, I probably shouldn't be here doing this, or I probably shouldn't be talking to this person or have a relationship with this person. If you can get real good at doing that, I am telling you, it gets a lot easier to be happier most of the time. And those things like anxiety, things like, depression, things like social anxiety, things of that nature are 100% curable, in my opinion. I am not a doctor. This is just my opinion. Those things are 100% curable in yourself. You can definitely take command of those things. And it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of self-awareness, but it's 100% possible. One of those things for me, for example, is I hate watching people get hurt. Like, I can't watch a video of people getting hurt. I can't watch like people suffering. I can't do that because I am an empath and I really feel the pain and I feel what that person is feeling. And so I stay away from any of those things. Like, I can't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I won't watch a scary movie. Not anymore. Like, I could watch, like cult classics, okay? Like, I could watch Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I could watch things like that. But things that I feel fear in my body or pain or suffering, things like that, I do not watch. I stay away from them completely. And that has changed my energy field immensely. I don't partake in those things. I mean, you can look this up. There's a lot of studies and things out there that tell you that our brain does not know the difference between what's really happening and what's fake. So whatever you're telling your brain and whatever you're talking and whatever feeling you are emitting into your body on a daily basis, your brain does not know that it's a joke or it's a movie or you're not really in harm's way. Your brain doesn't know the difference. And so that energy goes through your body. Sometimes you store it in your body, and 20 years from now, all that energy, that bad energy that's stored in your body, it has to come out some way, somehow. And how does it come out? In the form of a disease or in the form of, cancer. Again, I am not a doctor. However, these are just things that I have researched. I have done a lot of reading on. I have listened to Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who Joe Dispenza is, look him up. His research in this field of like the quantum realm and how quantum physics apply to pretty much the spiritual world are incredible. And so I stay away from a lot of those things purposely. And you have to face certain truths. You can say all you want, well, this makes me feel better, and I do this because I'm more creative and it lowers my anxiety and this and that. You can lie to yourself all you want, but you're not curing anything and you're not making yourself any better. You're literally staying a patient and you're literally staying stuck in like this level, and there is no leveling up from certain places. So you You have to call yourself out on certain things. And when you do, I mean, there's literally a light at the end of the tunnel. There really, really is. I hope that that makes sense, what I'm trying to say. You have to take some accountability and say, well, I might actually be the problem. And you know what? I was the problem for a while. I definitely was the problem in a lot of situations in my life. And unfortunately, I went through a lot of growing pains through all this shit. Okay? But I had to keep it real with myself. Another big thing for me was being able to sit with my feelings. That's huge. You know, I avoided my feelings literally my entire life. And it wasn't until I had to face all my shit and face all my feelings over and over again, because you face them and then you sit with them and you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to think about this. And then you go distract yourself for a little bit, and then the universe is like, no, come back over here. And it literally forces you to sit with yourself. And that's super uncomfortable. I understand why a lot of people don't do this shit. Like, I get it. I understand why a lot of people think that I'm crazy. I get it. Trust me. I understand. This is not like a walk in the park. People think that spirituality looks like this, when in reality, it looks like this. This is what it really looks like. So I get it. I get people that would rather stay in their bubble. That's fine if you want to do that. But don't continue to question why your life is a certain way, or why you're not reaching the goals or the pinnacles that you want to reach, or like why every time you go out all you see is pain, misery, and anger, or like every time you go out some crazy shit happens, or someone randomly like hits your car and then takes off. Like, you have to be self-aware to a certain extent. You don't want to go through all the growing pains and all the shit and crazy hard truths that you have to face. Cool. But stay there then. And be okay with what it is that you're getting. I was not okay with what it is that I was getting. I wasn't okay. Ambition is part of my human shell. You can't hide from it. Even if you try to convince yourself that you're like, oh, I'm a pretty humble guy, I'm not really too ambitious. Everyone has a certain amount of ambition. I was not satisfied with what I was getting and the energy that I was getting from the world and what I was seeing through my eyes. I wasn't satisfied with it. So that's where the hunger came from, trying to figure all this shit out. And I'm not saying that I have it all figured out. You don't ever finish figuring this shit out until you take your last breath and then you go back to where we came from. You don't ever stop figuring it out. But I know that I have a very good idea of what's happening and how things work, because I've tried one way and completely failed. I've tried another way and was miserable. And now I've tried this way and everything has changed. Things are a little brighter. My life is lighter. And so I know, because of my life and the way that I live and things that happen to me on a day-to-day basis, I know, because that's the evidence that what I'm doing is right and what I'm doing is what I should be doing, because of the pleasure and the joy that I feel on a day-to-day basis. It's really hard these days to get me down. even if something happens that is a problem, I take care of it right away. I don't put it in the back burner. And just like that, it is gone. For example, I have a remote start on my car. I had 2 remotes. When I bought the car, man, they gave me 2 remotes. Listen, okay, a week after I had that car, I was missing one of those remotes, and I have never found that ever. I have to this day. Okay, only had 1. A few weeks ago, the car doesn't recognize the remote. I can't turn the car on with the remote. I can't turn the car on by just pressing the button. I have to put the remote to the button. And then after a few weeks of that, the remote stops recognizing the car stops recognizing the remote altogether. And dude, I'm telling you that I don't even know how I got the car started, because I would have to like press the remote to the button over and over and over again and like press it real hard, and then it would start. But I knew, I was like, something's wrong, and eventually I'm not going to be able to start this car at all. So what did I do? Well, if it would have been me, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I would have probably broke down, started crying, started to be like, man, why does this happen? This is awful. Right now, do I really need this? Another $200, $300, $500, exaggerating everything in my mind that could possibly go wrong. That was literally me, for sure, 1,000%. And I probably would have waited till the last minute to get it fixed, because I don't want to spend whatever amount of money to get this fixed, because it's not fair. Listen, it goes on and on and on. So what did I do, man? I said, you know what? After maybe like 2-3 times that my car, I had to like really like jam my key onto the button for it to start, I said, you know what? I'm just going to call somebody. And I did. I called someone, and they said, hey, you know, you probably have a bad remote. And even the guy told me, he's like, you know, those remotes for your car, they're pretty reliable. Like, I hardly have to change those, actually. They're like really, really good. It's like really bad luck that you just got like a bad one. You know, I could have spiraled. I could have been like, man, I had 2 car remotes. I lost one. I bet you that other one would have worked. What are the chances that this car remote like doesn't work? The guy even said it was bad luck. I'm just like, you know, I could have gone on that boat, man, and been like, this is just my luck. This is just what happens. And I said, no, I sure didn't. Okay. I sure didn't. I went over to the guy's house. He's like, I'll look at it for you. Make sure that it's not something too crazy. I was deep down, I was scared it might have been like a computer thing, right? But I didn't get on that boat. Nope. That thought came into my head, and I was like, no, everything's gonna be fine. And I went over to this guy's house. He's like, I'll check it for you. He's like, it's definitely the remote. He's like, I don't even know how you got the car started before you got here. And it's funny that he said that, because I'm not going to lie, before going to his house, it was the hardest I had ever struggled to get the car to turn on. I tried it, and the car was not turning on, and the car was not turning on. And I could feel myself, like, the anxiety and the fear and all the thoughts, I can feel it creeping up, and I could feel it creeping up. I had to stop. I put my key down. I took a deep breath. I meditated for just a second. And once I had calmed down, I picked up my key and I tried again. And when I tried again, the car turned on. And the guy was like, I don't even know how you got here, because this key is bad. Like, it's dead. Like, I have no idea how you got to get here. I don't know. Of course I said, well, it's because I'm God's favorite. Hey, listen, sometimes you have to say these things out loud. Sometimes you have to hype yourself up. People think I'm crazy because I say I am the best. I am God's favorite. I am the luckiest person. I am the richest person. I am beautiful. I am the best you'll ever have. And you'll get people that look at you and they're like, oh, this bitch is delusional. No, I am not delusional. I am prophesizing positivity into my life. I am prophesizing what I want to see when I look in the mirror. I am prophesizing what I want my life to look like every day. You guys cannot be afraid to do that. You can. And the guy looked at me when I said that and I was like, yeah, I got it fixed right away. It was about $300 less than what I thought it was going to cost me. And now my car is perfectly fine. I don't have a problem. I mean, listen, these things happen because they work. I am not just like preaching here. I'm not just telling stories here. These things are real things. The only way we stop these bad things from happening or negative experiences from happening is by calling ourselves out on our bullshit when we're ready to and going down that road. There's a quote by Marianne Williamson that I've always loved. And it was a quote that was put into the movie Coach Carter at the end. The basketball player, he stands up and he says, you know, who are you to be great? I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but it's basically, she says, who are you to be great? You know, we tell ourselves like, who am I to be this great person? Who am I to be this person who doesn't need to make themselves smaller to make other people feel comfortable or whatever the case may be. You might say to yourself, who am I to be someone who can just walk around the earth happy and joyful and looking at the bright side of things and not needing substances or pills or whatever to cure my anxiety? Who am I? Who am I to deserve those things? You might be saying that deep, deep down inside, but the quote goes on to say, who are you not to be? Who are you not to be? The question we have to ask ourselves, I think it starts by saying, why do I feel unworthy? Why do I feel like I don't deserve good things? Why? Because maybe my family thinks a certain way and they're struggling, or my friends are struggling. What is it? What is it that makes you feel like you are not worthy enough or good enough to live a primarily joyful life? It's a good question to ask. It's something I asked myself. And I had to face the deep, dark truths about why I felt like I didn't deserve those things. A lot of people will watch this and they'll be like, yeah, I know, you know, everything's energy and our brain is in charge of everything, and what you think, you know, what you think really does influence your body and how you feel and da 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 da. A lot of people will say it and speak it and talk it all day, every day, but they won't live it. I have friends. They won't live it. They know but they won't live it. It's like, it's like my therapist, when I was going to therapy, she told me, she's like, Nympha, you know all the answers. You talk to me, we talk about your situations, whatever they are, and you always know the answers. You know exactly what the outcome needs to be, what needs to be done, and all this. But how do you get there? It's like you're on a road and you can see the finish line. You see it, bright as day, the finish line, but you don't see the road. So what does it matter? This is what she told me. What does it matter that you know the answers to everything if you don't know how to get there? Who cares that you know all the answers? Who gives a shit? Dude, that shit blew my mind because it's the truth. Who gives a shit that all of you can watch videos on YouTube or TikTok or Reels and be like, oh yeah, like there is like electromagnetic forces that your energy and your thoughts transmute to your body. And yeah, if you're angry all the time, that could turn into cancer. Who cares that all of you know this knowledge? Right? Because we live in a time of information. You can look anything up. If you want to be ignorant, it's on you because there's computers, there's a bunch of stuff. Who cares that you guys know all this knowledge and you're like, yeah, that's true. But nobody does it. Nobody actually does the work or does what needs to be done to align with the information that you know to be true. What does it matter? Get off the internet. Stop researching. It's all talk. And a lot of the things that I've seen lately about spirituality and really becoming one with yourself and with the universe, it's a lot of mumbo jumbo. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Basically. You know, another thing that I had to call myself out on was my thoughts about femininity, being a woman, feminism in itself. I had to call myself out on that. And that was a big one too for me. Right? Because I grew up with a mother that would say, you don't need a man, you don't need anybody, you can do it by yourself. And I was literally born with a map on my birth chart, in my DNA, if you will, that backed that up, backed that notion of being independent, doing everything by yourself, not needing anyone. That is literally my life story. It's not even ironic, really. If you take a look at how I grew up with the kind of mom that I grew up, you take a look at my birth chart and you take a look at everything that I've been through, who I am, how I am, whatever, who I was. If you look at that, you're like, oh shit, this all makes fucking sense. It's all right here. Literally. And that's another kind of hard truth that I had to rewire in my head. The not wanting help from others, the thinking that I can do everything by myself, the thinking that women are, in a sense, right, better, quote unquote, than men. Almost toxic femininity. Nobody wants to talk about that. We want to talk about toxic masculinity, which I have talked about in my podcast. It exists. It's real. But nobody ever wants to talk about toxic femininity. People want to shy away from that, especially women, especially feminist women. I had to change my thought on that too. And I had to rewire my brain almost when it comes to that. Because in society, I mean, you got the Taylor Swifts of the world, you got the actresses and actors and all these people who are feminists, when in reality, the feminist movement of today is just hating men. Really. It's not even about empowering women. It's about hating men. And so that was something I had to learn about myself through this whole spiritual thing, because in reality, part of this journey is releasing control. And that's really hard for me. I've always been in control of everything, of my emotions, to a certain extent, of my job, my life, my everything. And when you go on this path, you realize that part of it is releasing complete control and having so much faith in source that you say, hey, whatever happens is what's going to happen. And whatever happens is exactly what needs to happen. And I'm okay with any of the outcomes. For if you know me, okay? Like, sound off in the chat. D, please back me up on this. That is not my natural state. Are you kidding? No. And a part of that is releasing all this control and falling into your feminine energy, because we all have masculine energy and we all have feminine energy, right? My masculine energy is inside of me, and when I need to bring it out, I bring it out. If I need to fight a bear, that's what's gonna come out. If I need to protect my daughter, that's the part of me that's gonna come out. But in the flip side, if my daughter is hurt and she needs to be nurtured, then my feminine is gonna come out. And a lot of my self-awareness came from the realization that I have been in my masculine my whole entire life, and really releasing control and being in my feminine was so uncomfortable for me. So uncomfortable. And that's a hard truth, man. That's like me really calling myself out and like being vulnerable and just being like, yeah, I was that. You don't need no man. You don't need no help, period. Not even specifically from a man, but you can do it all on your own. And the pressure that puts on anyone it's crazy. The understanding that men are not the bad guys, and the understanding that it's okay to not be in control all the time. It's okay to just flow. It's okay to have people do things for you or want people to do things for you and not struggle. I had a light bulb out. I have like 22-foot ceilings in my house, okay? I don't have a ladder that reaches to the top of my roof. It's impossible. It's huge, okay? And in other days, I probably would have, I don't know, taken 2 ladders one on top of the other, put a box on top of the ladder, I don't know, put my daughter on her shoulders and like went up the ladder I do have to try to get. No, do you think that I did that? No, ma'am, I sure did not. I laid back, I waited. I said, I'll just get one of the guys that I work with to change it for me. No hurry, it'll get done. Not a big deal. What did he do? He came over, he changed it for me, he cleaned it. And it's a big change from my natural state. It was hard to understand that even though I had so many ugly, terrible experiences with men, that the truth is that if more women sat down and loved themselves more and were more respectful of themselves and were more feminine, more men would stand up and be men, the ones that we want and the ones that we need. It's a yin and a yang. Women need men and men need women. It's the beauty of this world. There is feminine energy and there's masculine energy, and we both have that. Men have feminine energy too. And it's the balance of it all. And that was something that was really hard for me to come to terms with. That I can't do everything by myself. Sometimes you do need a man, and that's okay. I do not consider myself a feminist at all. I would never be a feminist. I would not want my daughter to be a feminist either. It's a fine line between empowering women to love and believe in themselves to do things, and then it jumps to toxic femininity where you are tearing down other people and tearing men down and hating men for absolutely no reason and creating these hyper independent women that don't ever ask for help. That was me. That was me for a long time, and I struggled. I wish I would have asked for more help a lot of the times that I needed it. And so that was another big one that I had to call my bluff on. What I've learned about all of this is that you can't heal what you keep justifying. So if you have these justifications all the time for the things that you're doing, why you're the way that you are, why you do the things that you do, why you are into the distractions that you're into. You can't heal any of those things while you're defending them. So a lot of the times when even myself, I call out, let's say, a friend of mine that I really care about, and I call her out and I said, you can't keep doing this if you want to elevate to the next level like you say that you do. And that person comes back to me with a justification. Well, as soon as you start justifying the things that you're doing or defending the things that you're doing, you know for a fact there is healing that needs to be done there. Anytime you do that, there's resistance in that area. And that's your clue to know that there's something there that needs to be healed. I had to face these things about myself, and I ran away a lot of times and then came back and then ran away and then came back. And it was an ongoing cycle until I realized that I needed to be open to absolutely everything that I was downloading, all the information that I was getting from source, the signs, the revelations, everything that I was getting, I needed to just accept openly. And I had to call myself out because nobody was going to call me out. I had no one around me that was in such hunger and thirst for these answers. Therefore, I had no mentor. I didn't really have anyone that was going to call me out. It was me and source and my angels and my universe, and that was it. And so I had to be able to call myself out on my bullshit. And I think that's the whole purpose of this particular podcast. Make sure that you can decipher the truth from the bullshit. If you can just start by one little piece of information that you can decipher the bullshit, and you just keep doing that, and you can keep doing that, you eventually will find the truth. You will eventually find what I have found to be true. It's scary. Yeah. But what else do you gotta do? What else are you doing? I don't got nothing else. What are we here for if it's not to live our most authentic way? Our most joyful, authentic self. If it's not to live that way, what are we doing? Now, I do believe there's people on this planet that are only here to give us examples of what it is that we don't want. There's some people on this planet that aren't put here to evolve. Okay? We are the universe in human form, and everyone is contributing to this consciousness, everything. So there are people here who aren't here to evolve. They're here simply to teach us what happens when we don't evolve. I do believe that. But if you're watching this video, there's a spark in there. There's something in there that I know for a fact that you were put here to evolve. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Like I always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The lessons will find you. Until next time, this is Life Vetted.